Didn't have control of my drug addiction, didn't have control of my alcohol addiction. The finances were a mess just because of, the addictions.
I'm not even quite sure my purpose is as of now.
And I made a promise to God when I fell to my knees one day. I had hit rock bottom and I didn't know how to get out of it.
When you're sitting with yourself, no drugs, no alcohol, no friends, no therapist, but when you sit by yourself and be like, why am I here? What does this mean? It's like taking a deep dive.
I had a lot of anxiety waking up this morning too, and I'm like, man, I just gotta show up.
What does wealth mean to you now compared to your nightlife days?
You could strip me of all, my assets and my income and my businesses right now. And as long as I got a sound mind, a healthy body, my heart's still beating, big man upstairs watching my back, like do it all again, and I can get it all back. So that's real wealth. You don't go to God perfect. You go to him broken.
Today's guest is someone who's lived multiple lives. Nick Regina, visionary entrepreneur, CEO, Spark Financial Group, and founder of the Wealth Club, and the man who's made the shift from dominating the Canadian nightlife industry to scaling a billion-dollar financial empire. Nick has built and sold hospitality giants, worked with A-list celebrities like Drake, Snoop Dogg, Jennifer Hudson, and created one of the biggest promotional companies in Canada. But he walked away from it all for something deeper, a better version of himself, a stronger presence for his kids, and a legacy not built in lights, but built in faith, discipline, and long-term impact. Nick, thank you so much for being on here today. Let's dive into it.
Dude, that was one of the most badass intros I've ever gotten in my life.
Well, I don't know what I was saying, so hopefully it sounded good.
That was awesome, bro. Holy shit.
All right, Nick, so take us back. You were at the top of Canada's nightlife game. 7 clubs, massive events, celebrity access. What was driving you then, and what finally made you walk away from that?
Yeah, great question. I just thought it was the coolest industry, to be a part in and to engage in. Back in the day, I worked as a busboy at 13 years old for my cousin's restaurant called the News Cafe. And I'd see all these nightclub owners walk in, and they'd have their friends or their girlfriends with them. And before they'd go to the clubs, they'd get together and have a bite there. And I just thought they were the coolest cats out there, right? I was like, oh man, these guys are awesome. And I'd fire out from the back and I'd wipe the dishes so they were shiny for them. And they were just like, who's this kid, right? And I'd always have a laugh with them. And I got into it, when I was really young, through the bartending, promoting. And then I built up such a big promotion company that we were able to fill multiple clubs and sell out the booths and the guest lists and whatnot. So then I leveraged that and was able to become an owner. And I owned and operated 5 nightclubs in Toronto, 2 in Miami, in the art district there, Wynwood Walls.
Okay.
And it was a great time. It was a blast. I learned a lot. I had a lot of fun. I lived out my dreams, but it was the children. It was my kids that, made me want to get out of it, right? It was just, you're living in the fast lane, right?
Yes.
And with that comes a lot of vices, the drugs, the alcohol, just the late nights, and that energy that you're surrounded by on an ongoing basis. Kind of lost myself in the sauce, right? And as much as like the portfolio was doing good and we had a lot of venues and events and activations under the umbrella, it wasn't about the money, it was about wanting to lead by example and do the best that I could for my kids,
I think that's amazing. You say it so casually, 5 nightclubs, but what is it truly like running just one, or what, and how much were you working? How much effort did it take to actually facilitate that, to actually make that happen for the first time?
At one point I'd always have 2 clubs running, right? And 7 days a week, I lived downtown, literally across from my clubs, and they were on a strip called King Street West, arguably the hottest strip in Canada, Toronto most definitely. I was just immersed in my business 7 days a week, 16, 17 hours a day. If it was, the operations during the day and working the back end of the business, and then, the front end, having to be there at night, host, make sure all the VIPs are being taken care of, the staff is in line. And like any other business, right? Like you really got to work it from all angles, have a good staff, build a fun culture, have solid systems and processes in place, right? And just give her, but it's a lot of work, but so is anything else that you're going to do that's going to crush you, right?
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I feel like, because that kind of happens to me working with so many athletes, is it's like you're almost building your identity as like you probably became the go-to guy to have fun.
Yeah.
So then it's like, oh yeah, I'm that guy. So if you want to have fun, you're going to call me. It's like, oh man, someone got hurt, or I want to train, or oh yeah, my guy Sean can do this, or my guy Sean go get, and he's going to get you 20 tickets. I'm like, the things that people would ask me for were absolutely ridiculous, And then I was actually telling Kate that I was like, I built my identity around this Rolodex of people that I used to work with, and I lost myself in that time. And that's when I really started, the pastor, I'm like, who do I want to be? And that's when I'm like, I need to get involved into the community. I come from a single mom, no dad, and that childhood trauma, if you don't lean into it and get rid of it, it follows you your whole life. So I'm like, all these kids that don't have all these opportunities, like what can I do for them? And what can the people around me, donate to do for them as well? So, when I saw your nonprofit, I'm like, I'm starting my nonprofit. That's on the bucket list,
Nice.
Because I'm not waiting another year for that.
Yeah. No, philanthropy and giving back and just, seeing that you can make an impact and change someone's life in the trajectory is so powerful, right? And I'm a big believer in God and the big man upstairs. And I made him a promise when I got out of that industry, very similar to you. I got lost in the sauce. I lost my identity. I was so far away from what my core values were and how I was raised and who I was and what made me happy that I kind of went through an identity crisis coming out of it and had to find myself again, and working with my personal life coach and, attending church and making sure that, I was just following my faith and leaning in on trying to get a better understanding for who I am, then aligning with that, creating a why, right? And then having that why be the driving force. And my why is to leave this world a better place than I found it and lead by example for my children. And it's just like, that giving back component. I made a promise to God when I fell to my knees one day. I had hit rock bottom and I didn't know how to get out of it or, get better myself. And I fell to my knees and I asked him, and I said, listen, I'll promise I'll follow your footsteps. I'm going to lean into my faith. I'm really going to do everything, that you need me to do. I said, but I need help. I need help getting out of this.
So, I hear a lot of people say, I hit rock bottom, but explain exactly what that was like for you.
Yeah, just pretty much, again, didn't have control of my drug addiction, didn't have control of my alcohol addiction. The finances were a mess just because of, the addictions and how everything was really spinning out of control. I didn't have any sort of schedule, and it was the rock bottom moment for me was I walked in at 7 a.m., and it was actually my grandmother's funeral that day, who I had a great relationship with, and I had just gotten rocked the night before. I walked through my front doors and I see my wife with one of my very young kids and then my other newborn in her arms, and she's like, getting them ready and feeding them, and I'm coming in like rocked, and I got a funeral to go to in a few hours to see a woman that I love very deeply for the last time. And I was just like, no, man, this has got to stop. Like, this is way too crazy. I don't even know how it got this bad, right? So that was my rock bottom moment, knowing that the finances were a mess. I didn't know how to control my addictions. I was leaving, my kids to my wife, and just kind of like, just not caring about, bigger events and important moments in life, like a funeral, someone I love so dearly, to be present. Just mourn, just go through that experience. I was just numb all the time. So that was my rock bottom moment. And then I remember falling to my knees asking, and something came in me, man. There was just like, it was like a lightning bolt that hit me. And I was like,
Yes.
what the fuck was that, right?
Yeah.
And then I just kind of followed the nudges after that, and one thing connected to the next. And it was, but I made him that promise, that I would always, once I got better, I would make it my life mission on giving back and helping other people get better too, and that are struggling with what I'm struggling with or not, right? If there's a way I could support them, I'm down, right?
That's awesome. I think, that's it's like you really turn the page. It's like, creating that validation back for yourself. Like, I don't need that, and having that power to facilitate and walk away from that. So not a lot of people can do that. I don't think they have the strength to do that as well. So you built Spark Financial and the Wealth Club, around legacy and freedom. What does wealth mean to you now compared to your nightlife days?
Yeah, wealth is health in a way where, you could just be optimized and feeling good, feeling healthy, feeling like you're able to do whatever it is you set your mind to, right? And, you could strip me of all, my assets and my income and my businesses right now. And as long as I got a sound mind, a healthy body, my heart's still beating and the big man upstairs watching my back, like I could do it all again, and I can get it all back. So that's real wealth, is the health aspect and just, again, being able to wake up every day, put your 2 feet on the ground and know that you could put it into 6th gear and just pin it,
no, for sure. My wake up was like, I recently went through a long, painful 2-year divorce.
Okay.
And what it showed me was there is much more to life than the 4 walls. The 4 walls that you're in, the 4 walls that you sleep in, the 4 walls that you work in.
Yeah.
And it's almost like the universe said, you have to tap into your potential, but we're going to make it hurt. And we got to do something that's really going to hurt to wake you up. Because I think that high level people, they'll push the boundary. They'll work 20-hour days and they'll do it for 5 years. They'll do it for 10 years, but they won't really fulfill their purpose or how high they can go. Mm-hmm. So I really felt like something needed to happen that would hurt so bad to wake you up and be like, okay, you're made for much more than this. But unfortunately, we had to show you in the worst way that you thought then. Mm-hmm. Now looking back, it's not the worst way. It's just something that happened in my life. But that woke me up. Mm-hmm. But the beginning of that time frame, it was painful, man. Dealing when you're sitting with yourself, no drugs, no alcohol, no friends, no therapist. But when you sit by yourself and be like, why am I here? What does this mean? Man, it's like taking a deep dive. But I feel like if it's not for that and something doesn't hurt you that much and you actually don't sit in it so you feel what that feels like, you can never get to what your next purpose should be.
So true. It's so true.
So like, looking back, I was like, man, that really fucking sucked.
Yeah.
And but what I didn't allow me to do was, even though I was going through all that, I always showed up at almost 100% because I was like, you know what? Someone has it worse than me. Someone needs me more than I need me.
Yeah.
But what happened was I'm like, okay, but I'm going to take care of me for once because I'm giving out my energy and my effort to everyone. So it's like, it's okay to be a little bit selfish sometimes.
Absolutely.
And that's kind of like my new motto in life is like, some days I need a day off. Yeah. And before I would like ridicule myself, oh, you don't need to take a day off, just push through it. But I'm like, oh, I need a day for me so I can come back and be creative for the people that believe in me, for the people that I'm trying to accomplish things for, most importantly myself. Because, man, it's easy to lose yourself in life.
Yeah.
And I feel like being a high level entrepreneur, it can happen in 3 days that you can lose yourself. So like I said, okay, finding good friends or, what I found is like, unless someone has gone through something similar, no one understands what the fuck you're saying to them. Mm-hmm. And quite frankly, they don't even care. So finding like a good group of people that have gone through a similar situation or are high level, and money doesn't need to make you high level. You can actually, have some good relationships in your life as well. Yeah. And those people, they're not going to want anything from you. In fact, they're going to want exactly what you want from them. Someone to actually listen and to talk to. Yeah. Because they already got everything. They got watches, they got cars, they got houses, they got businesses, but they don't got real friends.
And Sean, you what I got off you in such a short period of time is naturally like you're a giver, right? And you're always talking about the clients. You're talking, when you were introducing me to your staff, you were just talking them up, building this pedestal for them, and then putting them on top of that. And like you could tell, even when you were, going through the mechanics of what a package would look like and how you're going to make sure that you're optimizing one's health. Like money, like they didn't even come up in regards to what your main mission was on putting this gym together. And it's like being that giver, like we have to fill our glass first before we could fill others, but it's very natural that givers are always trying to give and they're always trying to help everyone else out and they're always trying to pour in everyone's glass, but that'll deplete you of your energy and of, like things that you need that are essential to your health and your mental health in a big way. And I struggled with that for many and many years, right? You're always trying to help everyone else, or so much about this space in general, not just the gym, not just the biohacking, not just the training, but you're just an expert all across the board. Like, and you go deep. So it's like, I'm sure there's been thousands of opportunities that have made their way to you. Oh, Sean would be a great net equity partner on this, or Sean would be a great consultant on this, or Sean. And it's like, you want to say yes to all these opportunities. Absolutely. Because you're like, oh man, people are valuing me like that. And yeah, I do know a lot about that. And yeah, I can help, but then you'll just spread thin, right? And it'll just really deplete your energy levels and have it be that you're not able to be as effective as you can if you just narrow down and go hard with one thing. And like you said, continue to fill your cup up before you do that for everyone else, right? So good on you for doing that, bro.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And I think that I'm not even quite sure my purpose is as of now. So I'm spending that time deciding what is my purpose, because once I line into that, I'm gonna go and put in 100% into that, but I don't really know what that looks like,
dude. Because you're this hardcore and successful without a why. When you get your why, it's game over, bro.
I know why. Like I want to help people, but people say that and it's kind of generic. But I'm thinking, like, how do I want to help people? And what I feel like I can do is I can listen to people and take some of the things that they're thinking or they want to say it for them so they can actually hear it. Then they're like, oh yeah, that kind of sounds right. And because I've had billionaire clients, I have clients that make incredible amounts of money. They're so successful, but they're still human beings.
Yeah,
they still suffer.
Yeah,
they still feel pain.
Yeah,
they still feel lost. Mm-hmm. And I never saw them as that. I mean, I've been in every expensive home in Vegas. I don't care what car you drive. I don't care what home you live in. I don't care what you do for work. I don't care how successful you've been, because that stuff never mattered to me. Like you come in here, you don't see jerseys and footballs and everything signed up on the wall, because that's not what was important. What was important is the work that I've done in the last hour.
Right.
Because that's how someone's going to remember you is what you're currently doing and what you just did. So I use that, and every hour I'm trying, like, did I give my best? Am I doing this for the right reason?
Right.
Dropping the ego. Yeah. And sometimes you're faced with challenges in life that you don't even know the answer to, but I'm like, I'm going to see it through, because I have this belief that this is what I want to do. And the belief system is universal. So no matter what the outcome is, I'm going to go ahead and go through that thing.
Yeah.
Where the old me would use fear, then it starts using fear, and then it starts using, I'm trying to overwork myself because I'm working through the fear. This is the first time, like, I accept whatever challenge may come at the end of what I have to go through. I'm not afraid of that anymore. Mm-hmm. If I fail, at least I can say that I retain my integrity. Because I do feel like, I was thinking about this the other day when I was driving. There's plenty of times in life when you feel like you want to give up, but what I was thinking about is, man, you can never go back and get that one moment back where you decided either to give up or to do something that you shouldn't have done. You can never go back and do that again. Yeah. And that's called heavy regret. And I don't want to live with heavy regret. Yeah. So moving forward, I'm going to do things that are in complete alignment with me, no matter how it makes me feel.
Nice. That's awesome, bro. Yeah. That's going to be powerful. I'm excited to hear more about when you find that why and that purpose. I don't even know what it is. I mean, you're a powerful individual.
I don't know. It's just like, I was thinking too small. I know that I'm made for so much more. And it's just interesting, because it's like, I don't even know what that looks like. Cool. I don't know the full potential of what this actually all means, but I feel like I'm getting a chance to dive in. It's amazing how many people believe into, like, man, we'll put money there, we'll put money there, we'll put money there. Okay. Like, I'm used to being the provider. I'm not used to receiving help. I'm not used to being like, oh, that's a great idea, man, let's go ahead and do that. I'm not used to that. I'm used to always having the battle for the things that I believe in, unfortunately. So, you've openly battled addiction and have been through arrest. That's the side that most people want to hide. What did those dark moments teach you about chasing greatness the wrong way?
Yeah. And it's, again, right, like, not having a powerful why, not being able to understand even what your core values are and identifying those and aligning with them. The moral compass not being in the right place. My faith was not there, right? Like, there was no relationship with God, and it was just trying to fit in with, keeping up with the Joneses, external validation, whatever was cool on the social platforms or was thought to be success, was what I was chasing, right? And dopamine in a big way. I was chasing the dopamine hits from the drugs and the alcohol, and just living in that lifestyle. And that was it got scary near the end. I was in and out of rehabs, and I was really trying to get right, but the darkness, and you had mentioned it earlier, like going through those dark times when it's really painful and you're suffering, like in retrospect, I look back and like those were like some of the most beautiful moments that I can now look at and be like, man, I don't want to go back there.
They're
and
like
I know if I do this
character
shit, like,
development, like they are. At the time, really, you think you're going through the worst thing, but man,
it's the best thing, bro.
It really is the best.
Yeah, like again, falling to my knees, and that's where my relationship started with God, right? But I wouldn't have gone to that extent as a man, that was successful and making all this money and, had a big name for himself in the nightlife, like falling to my knees and calling on to someone that I had no belief in prior to that. Like that in its own is like quite the humbling experience. And the only way I would have done that is if it got as dark as it did. But that's where I got to build the relationship with our Father, you know what I mean? And the most powerful dude out there, bro.
And I'm glad that you say that because there is no change unless you change your environment.
Yeah, physical environment.
You have to change your physical environment.
You have to, yeah. And I remember when I got out, and that's why I think this place is so badass, is because I was at the gym 2-3 hours, and then I'd head to the cold tubs 2-3 hours, not because I was working out for 2-3 hours or in the tubs for 2-3 hours. I just had to stay away from the clubs, the restaurant, the bars, the cafes, and like I'd go to safe places like this, and like I can't do wrong in here. I can't meet someone out on the floor that isn't trying to improve their health. I can't meet someone in a cold tub that isn't on a personal development journey or isn't trying out things that are helping them on an overall. So these like gentlemen like yourself would be someone I would look up to and be like, yo, Sean's a cool dude. You don't have to be in nightlife doing X, Y, and Z to be a cool dude. Sean's like one of the coolest dudes I've ever met. Like I want to fucking pull up and hang with him, or just the working out and I feel like outside of like pump and steel for muscle gain, it's almost like it's more mental health that it really
is. So that I'm glad you said. So what they have, like what makes it different, it's the full gym in the Human Performance Center, because you can't pay for that. You can't pay for someone to exercise for you. Like, there's all the biohacking stuff. Yes, you can lay in a hyperbaric chamber. You can sit in the sauna. You can go into a red light bed, take all the peptides and all this shit. But, man, there is something that happens when you put in your physical effort and you're having a bad day or you need a pick-me-up and you go in and you actually put the work in yourself that no one else can do.
Yeah.
And you drive to the gym.
Yeah.
And you put your music on. It just does something to you.
Yeah.
And I feel like all this AI shit and, nothing is ever going to be able to recreate that.
No.
So the next place that I have, I just have this feeling. It's not a vision. It's beyond that. It's like this feeling that I have about taking visualization and materializing it into this thing that I want someone to feel this way. Like I talk about EDC. I went there for the first time. 500,000 people. They're obviously there. They're trying to escape from something.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to dissect what feeling are they actually trying to chase after. It's why I like Disneyland. I go, it's like, what are these people trying to obtain? And once I have that, I'm putting that into the business, because I'm going to figure it out. Because there's something that people are they're looking and they're searching for. What is it? And then I'm going to put it right into there. So that's my mission, is what do I want people to feel like? And I want them to feel powerful with themselves.
Yeah.
That's the key. And then, now you're right. Every single person in here, or it doesn't matter where, they're all working on themselves.
Yeah.
And there's a powerful thing that happens there. And then again, you can't get that from doing blood work. You can't get that from biohacking. You can't get that from cold plunging every day. There's just something that happens when you have like-minded individuals working on themselves, men or women. It's just a special thing,
Yeah, and like, so that famous saying, it goes like, sure, before I even meet you, show me the 5 people you hang out with most, and I'll have a pretty good understanding as to who you are before even meeting you or having a convo with you. And again, that's the environment you're creating here of high performing athletes. And what you said on the floor was like, everyone's an athlete. Anyone could be an athlete. It's just their workout is just a little less intense than a professional athlete's,
Yes.
right? He's like, so when you have that mindset, you're already injecting that in someone who's coming through the gym who's like, oh man, I'm not an athlete, I can't. And then you put that on them, and then that mindset shift, and then, as hardcore as this environment is here with the biohacking center and the gym and the way that your energy is and how you're training your staff, like that's going to rub off on them, and what that does to amplify, their lifestyle. And then the people that are going to be coming into this gym, like that's a ripple effect, right? Like
Yes.
the staff here is awesome. The people all out there, are convinced now, and they're right to be thinking so, that they're athletes too, just with a little bit of a less intense
Yes,
protocol.
yes.
And then you're walking into that, you're like, dude, what's going on in here? Like, I want to be a part of this. And then those relationships internally that are created, those dudes are going to rub off on other dudes, and their core values are going to be shared, and their words of wisdom, their knowledge. And you were talking to your professor and your doctor prior to this podcast going off, and you're like, yeah, our gratitude walks. I'm like, man, I do a 5-minute journal that has a small component of gratitude. I'm like, but shit, I should be doing a gratitude walk with my wife every day. Like that was beautiful, bro.
My first mentor is telling me, he's like, Sean, I'm inspired by you.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him in 10 years. He's been coming here for 6 months. I didn't see him so how cool is it for your first mentor
It's
to
awesome,
be like,
bro.
damn, you inspire me.
But imagine
you pulled it
I'm
off.
out on the floor now, right? I don't even see you, let's say, tomorrow, and I'm here pumping steel, and Buddy's out there on the floor. What kind of conversation are we going to spark up if we start talking? That man looks like a beautiful man. Even the few things he said when he was in here and how many good things you had to say about him, he's going to rub off on me. Right? That
Yes.
gratitude walk might be something I want to do now.
Yes.
He's probably got a lot of other cool things he's up to,
He
that
does,
would work
yeah.
for me.
He
Right?
does,
I'm like,
yeah.
shit, that's who I'm hanging with,
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, that the environment you're creating here is powerful. I think that experience and that physical environment that you've created here, it's already taken a life of its own, brother.
Yeah, and I look a certain way. So be like, do you intimidate people? It's like, no, because they feel my energy before I say a word.
Yeah.
And that's important, because people can read right off of your intentions right from the beginning. I can read someone in 2 seconds, man. And so it's important to that. And with that being said, is when I started the podcast and get on social media, it was, I don't have to act a certain way. I'm the same person all day long.
Yeah.
I can be professional.
Oh, you can tell you're authentic as fuck.
When I'm in here, we got Tupac is like on 80, right? And people are like, how do you work like that? I'm like, I do it every day. I do it at my house. I do it in my car. And it's completely authentic. Then you don't have to be forced like you want to be someone.
Yeah, it's the worst.
Now, obviously, I feel like you do have to earn some of that, right?
Yeah,
You can't show up in blue shorts full of tattoos. You got to make sure that they know who you are. But that doesn't matter, because people just want to know what type of value that you're being able to give them. Are you humble? Are you a high value person? Do you believe that you're a high value person? Can they see what you do inside and out of here? And that became something really meaningful to me. I'm like, okay, that's what people, I think what they respect most about me is because I always say what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And I always fulfill it, no matter
Integrity.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure, man. That's huge.
So most entrepreneurs struggle with balance. You choose your kids and your marriage over multi-million-dollar industries. How did you rebuild your identity in a world that glorifies ego and attention?
Yeah, again, very humbled when I fell to my knees and when I was in that extreme dark place and didn't know how to pull out of it. Humbled in a way where, I needed help and I couldn't do it on my own, right? So faith did that for me in a big way, right? Like, all glory to the big man upstairs. And it's a very short period of time that we're gonna live out this life over here, and we gotta love our neighbor, right? As we would want, them to love us, and that if you follow just that one commandment, right? It's the most humbling, and it'll just beat your ego out, and there's no ego there, right? And yeah, man, it's a beautiful thing, right? I can go on and on about it, but yeah, for sure.
It's interesting. Like I started going to church, about 16 months ago again.
Okay.
To City Light. Kate goes there, and it is incredible. They just, they went from a small high school to they just opened up 20,000 square foot church 3 weeks ago. It's amazing. City Light. And Pastor Jabin said something that was really important. He's like, you can watch it live. They have one of the best live streams, but there is something about going to church, and it's the environment thing.
Yeah.
And it is true. Every time I'll not necessarily skip a week, but I'm like, I got a lot going on. Let me watch it. No, man. Something happens there. There's definitely something like you have to go.
Yeah.
You have to go,
it's
and then you have to
best.
practice every day.
Yeah.
You can't just like one Sunday comes and then you do a bunch of shit and then you go again and ask for forgiveness and you do it. That's not how it is. But if you're like doing that daily practice and then putting yourself in that environment, the crazy thing is here, a lot of those people that go to that church, they're members here. And they're really cool people, and they're high-level entrepreneurs, and they're pro athletes. I'm like, man, this is really awesome. Like, it's. I think when you're growing up, maybe it's not cool to believe in your faith or cool to go to church, and man, has that changed?
There's a huge rise in the conscious community and people that. It's trending now. It's trending to hit up church and to build a relationship with God, which is beautiful, bro. That's what we need, And
it doesn't feel like cult-driven church where, like, as a kid, I'm forced to go to church, put the thing down, get on your knees, listen, monotone. Yeah. No, these churches are delivering real messages to people, and they're providing support. They're providing. I've done some men's groups before. Nice. And I would never do that. It's like, oh, you're going to share your feelings with strangers, much less with other men. But man, those groups are powerful.
Oh yeah.
I need to do the next. I think it's coming up in a month. But those are powerful because those should be your friends. Yeah. Those random people that are there, with you during that time frame. Yeah. You should go ahead and befriend those people because those are powerful people.
And you see, so an alpha dog like you, a leader, an entrepreneur, someone who's educated, someone who's cool as fuck, you see a dude like that in that kind of leadership group, that's where the whole movement is just changing now. Yes. There's cool dudes like you that are pulling up, that are opening up and saying, hey, listen, man, I'm struggling with this and I'm trying to solve for that. Or, this was a real bad time in my life and X, Y, and Z happened to me. And I just want to share that. And I want to see if I can help anyone with it. Like, then it makes it cool. So all of a sudden it could trend, in pop culture. And it could be like, hey, man, it's cool to be in here. Sean's here, so it's cool as fuck. So, right? And I think that's what's happening now in a big way. So that's awesome.
I have to say, when I was a kid going to church and now, what people look like, totally different. You get a little bit of everything, and that's great because it makes you feel comfortable that anyone should be able to have the privilege to be in their faith, no matter what they've done or what they look like or what they believe in. It's their own personal faith. Yeah, and I think that those things are really powerful.
Yeah, that is so big because it's like you don't go to God perfect. You go to Him broken. Right, and He's accepting of all of us. So it's like that picture. I have that same picture in my head, dude. I know exactly what you're talking about. It's like, oh man, I can't pull up that clean cut, and I don't have that kind of etiquette and that mannerism. And then, I'm going to be in the house of God, and no. There's no judgment from Him, right? And even sometimes just kicking it at home and being able to pray 3-4 times throughout the day. And like, I used to, talk a lot differently to Him, and now it's just an open, cool, casual kind of me having a chat with someone, right? Like, not trying to put on a front or try to be perfect when I present to Him. Like, that's not the way it goes, right?
No, 100%.
The fact that that's the case, and to go to your point, the preachers are a lot more relatable now, so it's like, okay, like if I can relate, then I can take in that information so much easier, and then that comes out, and it's beautiful, but it's humbling, it's very humbling, and I think that'll arrest the ego.
Yeah,
right?
it's funny, and a lot of the preachers they just have stories that make them not perfect. So it's like, I remember the pastor saying, is like one of the neighbors, I forgot what it was, blew like all of his leaves and dirt and put it in a pile in the front of his car. So he gets home, he's mad. He's like, mah. So he's out there, cussing.
What his neighbor did to him,
and then he's shoving it all back on his neighbor. So his daughter's watching that, and he goes there. He's like, okay, that wasn't my best. That wasn't my best look, but it's funny, and it made everyone laugh because it's like it shows that everyone is human. It's not about being perfect. Just like. You're a person at the end of the day. Yeah, exactly. And anyone would be pissed about that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah.
You probably say, oh, yeah, the pastor lives by me, so he can't say anything to me, you know? All right, so tell me what it's like scaling a financial firm, toward $1 billion valuation. It's definitely no small goal. What's your strategy for scale, and how are you building infrastructure to support that type of exponential growth?
Yeah, great question. So essentially, need a solid foundation, need really thorough systems and processes and KPIs in place. I did a lot of business coaching with Patrick Bet-David, so I got a much better understanding for the corporate organizational chart and how to scale up, and that there's certain ceilings, like 1 mil rev is a ceiling, 3 mil rev is a ceiling, 10 mil rev is a ceiling. And when you hit those ceilings, there's just these certain bottlenecks that happen, and it's pretty standard what these bottlenecks are, and other people have solved for them. So you think you're like alone in this battle on trying to blow past that ceiling, and no one's solved for it. But when you're working with like high level coaches and dudes that have been there, they'll just be like, oh, you just got to do like X, Y, and Z, and then boom. And it's just like, oh yeah, that makes sense. So coaching, with PBD on the ops side of things was really helpful, and essentially like vertically integrating. So it's mortgages, it's insurance, and it's lending. So it's not just mortgages, and it's not just insurance, or not just lending. So they cross pollinate. And when we have our foot in the door to do your mortgage, it's like, hey, might as well quote your insurance, and looks like you got a little bit of equity there. We can invest that for you and get, X amount of return for you. So, taking a look at their portfolio and maximizing the potential of wealth you can help them build, and then in return, revenues that can come to the firm. And then taking that and scaling it worldwide and bringing it into different marketplaces that are dense, kick-ass economies and that call for, those services. So, we're still in our infant stages, right? There's a lot of work that has to be done to get to that $1 billion valuation, but I love it. I enjoy it. It's a challenge. It's hard. Sometimes you're taking 3 steps back to, get 1 step forward, and you're just banging your head up against the wall being like, what did I do this all for? I literally ripped apart the infrastructure and had to put it back together and feel like I'm back at day one. But that's all part of the process. And when you talk to these other experienced entrepreneurs, they'll tell you the same, right? So
the $3 million mark, I think is the form of The Exorcist, because
$3 million was my hardest ceiling to blow,
I believe that it requires a complete infrastructure change.
Oh yeah.
It turns your company from being mom and pop into an enterprise, but it's painful.
You know what I had to do it was my hardest ceiling to blow past. The main arm that I had to inject to blow past it, and this is what I had a lot of difficulty with, and PBD helped me with it, a sales arm, an internal sales arm.
Yes.
Because at that point, other than my sphere of influence and the ecosystem I've created, because a lot of people know me or respect me or trust me, that's where it's like I maxed out.
Yes.
So unless I have a steady stream of leads coming in for the type of business I'm going for, right, I can't scale it past that. So I needed a full-blown sales arm, right? And for different industries, it's different people. It might be commission-only producers. It might be heavy search engine optimization marketing, social media marketing, partnerships with other, people that are in the business that can feed you leads. But it was a sales arm and then that helped me fucking blow past it, right?
Yeah, when I say I think it's definitely sales and marketing for sure. And it's a painful process to understand what that bottleneck is, because it does require a full change, and taking it above that, obviously now you're incurring a lot of extra expenses. You probably have higher level employees, C-suite employees that are getting added onto their 6-figure salaries getting dumped in there, and what it took your business to get to that point is no longer suitable to get it to the next point.
That's right.
And it's 10 times harder.
Yes.
And for someone that can't see that it's 10 times harder, they'll never be able to grow past that in the business. But sometimes they're not able to. Sometimes they don't have that capability built inside of them to rewire their brain to think, I need to become more high level.
Yeah.
And it's the true visionary, I feel like, that can see that can start. Then they find a way to spark that into the team, in a way that's never been done before, where you actually put strategy and you put these, markers on the team, but like, hey, now you guys have to hit these things.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, it robs the other people in your department and it crushes our other departments.
Yeah.
And it's like a sense of entitlement they get. And then you wonder, okay, you just went from being a show up to work place to a performance based pace.
Yeah.
So it's like, rather than waiting, every year I'm going to get a little bit of a bonus, I'm going to get a little raise, or someone comes in and makes more revenue in 3 months than anyone else has, shit, you're going to bonus that person.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like it's a complete restructure of the organization at that $3 million mark.
So true.
And it is painful.
It's the
worst. It has to be the most painful.
Because you touched on it when you said everything you know and everything you built took you to that level.
Yes.
So how long have we known that, and how long were we doing that to get to that level? So then you got to change that whole mindset, and you have to change a lot of what's you built on the infrastructure. You got to change like everybody else's mindset. And you're just like, whoa, what's with all this change? It's like, well, dude, we're hitting the ceiling, man.
Yeah, I had to humble myself and then position myself around business people that were 100 times better than me.
Yeah.
That have made, and these people made 100 times more money than I ever have. But it was learning all about finances, but every little part. So now I know every single piece of finance in the business.
Good for you.
At all times. And when you do one thing, it affects another. How much marketing do you spend to make profit here? What's not working? And the ability to see that day to day. It's just that I never did that before. But when I started doing it, I'm like, okay, I love this part. This part I love, and I'm really good at it. Mm-hmm. I stepped away from working in the company to work on the company, and it was eye-opening for me. But then I became addicted with it because I never got a chance to do it before. And the second that I sunk my teeth in, I'm like, oh, this is all me. And I realized that, okay, with the right type of people around me, creating that team to get to the next level is definitely possible. It just required a change. I do believe in business, every 5 to 10 years, leadership is going to change, and it should. Mm-hmm. And it should be passed on to the person qualified to make those things happen at the most rapid level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, for sure. And it's beautiful to see what you've created here, and you can tell your staff really care and they want to see it grow as much as you. And I haven't had too much interaction with them, but just from that love and that energy I felt right away, I was like, oh yeah, man, this is going to be really, really cool what ends up continuing to happen in this space, right?
Yes.
And how you grow it. So for sure.
That's why I'm so big on getting into that corporate wellness and performance side.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I want to work with Fortune 500 companies and come in, because it's like, it's not that they don't have the resources, but they need someone that has come from nothing to create something, not only for monetary wise, but for their actual business and stuff as well. Because they're gonna half the time stuff is so close to your face you can't see it. So when you bring in outside people, I truly believe that you should always bring in outside vendors to do stuff in your company. I feel like they're going to see things that you can't see, and they're going to be able to relieve some of those bottlenecks there. But with good corporate wellness and performance, you should be able to get 20% more revenue, more productivity from yourself, less burnout, less people being sick. But most importantly, it facilitates an environment like maybe you don't have to come to work 5 days a week, because maybe you got so good that you can do all these things in 3 or 4 days, and now you have an extra day off. But we never thought about it. That was, this has got to be a 40-hour salary. Who cares if you're paying for a $40-hour salary? That person's only working 15, but they're doing the work for someone working 100 hours. They're doing 3 people's job.
Yeah, and that screams efficiency, and what that'll say to the people that are allocating the budget to build culture and to make sure that they're taking care of their employees is that'll say ROI for them. And when they know there's an ROI there, right, and it screams efficiency, and like you were talking about a little earlier, there was a metric and a certain number, I think it was 20%. In efficiency or sales, that there was a correlation with that in your program. Once they could, take that and understand that you're improving on the metric side of things, it's game over.
Yes.
Like you're going to be able to just scale the fuck out of that.
Yeah, so
right?
Because
it's an investment that they're making at that point.
So
it's
the first part of the investment is they're doing human performance with themselves first, then with their team. Then you come back with the strategic advisory firm on how they are, it's all about operational efficiency and operational capacity.
Yeah.
When you understand both of those things and can delineate them, I feel like now all of the decisions that you're making in the company are purely based off of data and not from emotional decisions.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
If something's just not working out after 3 months when you evaluate, it's just not working out. If you don't get rid of it, it's like an exponential effect. Like having the wrong person in the wrong place for an extended period of time is so detrimental to a company. It can blow up a company.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
And quickly.
It's a bad
really
apple.
quickly.
Yeah.
All right, so you founded a nonprofit and prioritized community and faith in high stakes business world. How do you keep service and spirituality at the center of what you do?
Yeah, great question. So it's again serving others, it's making an impact, and it's helping change the trajectory of one's life. And when they're in their darkest of moments, right? Like you take that experience that we've went through, right? And you remember all those feelings, and you're scared of going back there because it's just such a horrible place to be in. And sometimes those rock bottoms, like my rock bottom, isn't even anything in comparison to this person's rock bottom, and I look at that as like, I want to show up for you, and I want to do as much as I can to help pull you out of that rut. So the driving force is like how dark it was for me once upon a time, me putting my shoes in their, my feet in their shoes and being like, whoa, man, like I got to go in and help this person, or I got to go in and help this organization. So it's kind of feeling their pain and wanting to spread the love. Now, in my opinion, the revolution will be led with people that are just spreading love. The revolution is love, right? Like love will just, it doesn't matter about jets in the air and soldiers on the ground and governments and money. It's just love. We just got to love each other. And that's the revolution, right? And I know it was a big thing with the hippies back in the day, but they were right. You know what I mean? It's just, they had to spread it in a different way, but they should have left the drugs out of it. But what it boils down to is that, so, being able to grow my charity, and I've added a layer called the Good People Army in the charity, where you could, wear the blazer with me. I wear a blazer for 30 days every year. I can't take it off. It's the 4th year this year, but this is the first year that I'm inviting people to wear the blazer with me, and it's for a charity of their choice, and a charity that the charity picks. And it's like, putting this blazer on and representing something that is bigger than you and helping, one's life. Like that's something that for me, it's a beautiful thing to watch. Like last year we got all the mainstream media, all the TV stations, all the radio stations, massive coverage in the city of Toronto. And now that's growing to, other parts of Canada, and even I'm going to bring it down here, south of the border. Kate's rocking a blazer, and it's like, I just want to spread that. I want to grow it, because the more money we raise, the more people we could help, and it's very infectious when you give back, right? Like when you're doing philanthropy work, and there's no better feeling in regards to fulfillment, and joy, and just feeling like that heart is full. So I know that, when all these people wear the blazer, and when they rock out, and when they donate, or when their people donate to their charity or to their campaign, they're going to get that same feeling, and they're going to want to continue to, bring on more people and spread the love, right? And a charity is not owned. It's got a board of directors, and you just have your position on the board. No one can own a charity, right? So if your heart's in the right place and you're doing it for reasons of which are for all the right reasons, then the big man upstairs will make sure that he helps you out, right?
100%. What is the name of your charity?
It's Spark Charity Foundation.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Spark Charity. Yeah.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about mental resilience. So you've taken heavy hits personally, professionally. What are the non-negotiables that keep you focused and grounded on the path to success?
Yeah. So morning routine is very important. Get up, do my 5-minute journal, read my little prayer. I'll incorporate a workout. So whether it's cold tubs and sauna every morning, or pumping some steel at the gym. I'm on a vitamin protocol, so I'm making sure that I'm working with a trainer and I'm getting what I need, right? Then again, very disciplined on my routine, right? So I'll go in, crush the day at work. Got to be home at 5:30, 6 the latest, because I want to be at the dinner table with the kids, hang out with them, chill, and spread the love, and then bring them to bed, read them that nighttime story, kiss them goodnight, and then hang with the wife. But for me, like, I never had routine. I never had discipline when I was in hospitality. I was all over the place.
Yes.
So, like, for me, for the average person, that might seem like, that's kind of just boring and regular. I'm just kind of like, oh man, that's the coolest thing ever, and I wanted that my whole life, you know. But that structure is big. But the non-negotiables are, you know, those that biohacking, that working out, the vitamin protocol, the praying, you know, to keep the mind nice and tight, right?
It's funny you say that. There was a time, you know, I'm still working through it, where if I wasn't doing something, man, my mind was just going, man. It was actually facilitating every possible thing that could go wrong.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about that, where that's what got me addicted to working.
Yeah.
Because I had to do something.
Does your past chase you a lot? Like, does it chase you a lot?
Yeah.
Yeah,
if it does, yeah, like a lot for sure.
Yeah.
You know, in like subconscious, I'm a big subconscious developer and reader. I'm like, okay, this is just like buried into my self-conscious. Like sometimes when you're living that lifestyle that fast, like you don't even know what your brain isn't taking in.
It's true,
you know?
man.
So when you start unpacking it, man, it's
deep, bro.
I need a couple of 18-wheelers to take out this
too,
luggage,
man.
you know,
Yeah, no
because you don't even see it. So I was like, I'd be laying on the beach in 5 minutes, mind just going, can't enjoy anything. That's the biggest part. Is the Dr. Guadagnoli would say, comparison is the thief of joy, and he's absolutely right. Because I was comparing myself to anything became a comparison for me.
Yeah.
Another gym, another business, another person, another this. Because fear-based mindset, you're thinking that I need to compete with everything and everyone.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
That's not true.
Yeah. And what brought you peace with that? Because I continuously struggle with that when I have
still really
a few
big
too
struggle.
many minutes to chill.
Like for whatever reason lately, well, you know, I'm in a situation that I'm dealing with, and lately it's just been 1 o'clock in the morning. I wake up and I'm up to 5:30. This is every day for like the past 90 days now. You know, as I'm working through this situation in my life, and I'm like, man, like, is there an end to this? Like, I thought that I had gotten through this before, but it's just like, but not at the level that I needed to really go through it. And I realized that, man, this has got to be one of the worst things, is when you can't enjoy anything or feel like you can't. You know, it's like it takes your whole life away from you.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's why I said, no matter how painful it is to get resolution to what that is, you just have to do it. Because I was like, man, I'm not willing to live my life like this anymore. This is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm literally like losing my life every day because I can't quiet my mind. I'm letting all these things control me, you know? And so it's something that I'm still trying to work. That's why I'm a big sauna user. I use a sauna almost every day. Yeah. It's like, some people want to buy a Lamborghini. I bought a big ass sauna at my house, like overkill. Yeah. And I'm like, but that for me, it allows me to get like 20 to 25 minutes a piece, and I've been doing that every single day for like the last year. And I won't change that. That's like my ritual. That's my routine.
Nice.
If I don't do that, I just feel like I can't quiet the mind. But then again, it's still. I'm I'm probably not doing enough. It's just all an excuse. I'm not doing enough in order to really stop those, you know, thoughts from coming in.
Yeah.
But I also don't know how. But I'm also okay with not knowing how either. I think it just needs to work itself out a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. I've been going through a tough time, 6 months specifically. General anxiety disorder that then morphs into panic. And then it's like a slippery slope down into depression. And I've been battling and coming out of that. And again, though, I feel like it's extremely humbling experience. But I feel that like I need to be going through this in order to get to the next step and to grow. And it was whatever's meant to be is happening as a current. But I'm struggling myself too. I
didn't get a diagnosis, but yours sounds identical to mine.
Yeah.
And then then it's like, the stress and anxiety come up a lot. It's just that, you know, when you're high level, no one really sees that side because you don't want to show them, right?
Yeah.
So it's all internalized. But then my blood pressure started going crazy, man. And I'm like, there's no reason my blood pressure should be crazy like this. You know, I got prescribed blood pressure medicine. I'm like, I don't want to take that because it's not from that. It's from stress. But how do I combat the stress? Like, I can't seem to quite figure out how not to care about things. Like, that's what it comes down to. I care about everything, and I try to control it. But sometimes you can't control what other people do. So, you know, it was actually it was this past weekend. I was, you know, I worked way too much last week. A lot of stress. I'm laying down on the couch, and then, man, I just started having an anxiety attack, and that turned into blood pressure was going up high. My blood pressure little cuff broke at my house. So I'm like, oh shit. What's my blood pressure? Panicking. Then I'm like, you know what? I'm not willing to let this issue compromise my health at this level anymore. I was like, it's like at that moment I decided, I was like, no, we're standing up for the self today.
Nice.
I said, we're leaning right into its resolution. I don't know how long it's going to take, but I wasn't willing to let my health be compromised at that level anymore.
Nice.
Because if not, what's everything worth it? You know, I won't even be able to enjoy anything by the time it's all said and done. But those things are much easier said than done. I find that to be, in my opinion, you can give me a shovel and I got to dig a hole for 20 hours in the hot sun every day for 300 days. I can do that no problem. But when you're trying to quiet your mind or get, you know, through some of those things, it is extremely difficult.
It is, man. Yeah. And I just want to tip my hat to you and say, you know, like the fact that you've been up from 1 a.m. till 5 every day, seeing you today, you know, you had a big smile on, you're passionate, you're going hard, you're doing your thing. You know, it takes a lot of mental resilience just to show up. You know, I had a lot of anxiety waking up this morning too, and I'm like, man, I just got to show up. I got to shoot a bunch of content, and I got to be, you know, just going through the day and putting my best foot forward. And maybe it might not be a 10 out of 10 day for me. Maybe I'll show up and it'll be a 6, but I tried my hardest to make it a 6. And, you know, I want to tip my hat to you and give you your, you know, your cookies for that, right? You look like a rock star.
Man, if
you're talking clearly, and you wouldn't even be able to tell you were.
What was going on today? I'll be able to one day. But if I could describe to you what was going on today, and I'm not gonna lie, for a split second, I'm like, oh man, I'm not gonna be able to pull it together to go meet with him. But I did it because that's always what happens. It's always like Woody pulls the string on his back, right? But it's like at one point in my life, I would like to get through those things where it doesn't have to be always that tough like that, you know?
Absolutely.
But it's something. It's hard when you know. I don't think a lot of people see how much people will carry on their back for another person. They just can't even see it. Maybe they're angry. Maybe they don't understand. But man, I carry so many people on my back, and sometimes it just gets overwhelming.
Sure, bro.
You know,
we create our own economies. And people rely on the economies that we create to feed their families, to pay their bills. You've created an economy here,
bottom
bro.
line, no one's ever going to care as much as you know. And if you have a dream and it's your dream, then definitely no one's going to care about your dream like you are. Yeah. And they may try to sabotage it. They may try to get rid of it. But it's like, how much is that dream worth to you? You know, and not every day you can, you know, at some days you're going to have to take a failure on some days, you know, but it's like, can you recover and come back in without giving up? Because before you said that, no, you would definitely suffer some losses in some days for sure.
For sure.
There's
100%.
absolutely like
a lot.
You know, at one point I'm like, maybe cameras should just follow me all around so they can actually. I don't mind showing it. There's a lot of ugly parts of life too, man, where I'm extremely challenged, but it can't be all about the positivity, you know. And but I'm okay. I'll share anything with anyone because I really don't care. But there are definitely some dark days where you just are like, man, am I going to be able to make it 3 hours from now? You know, it's that's actually what made me make the podcast, was being able to share those things with other people and have a real conversation with them, because it's like, you know, you're giving me your time and I'm giving you 100% of my time and focus. I think that's how it should be. You know, podcasting has turned into this money shit. And I'm like, okay, go make money from something else. You know? Anyone? I don't even understand the podcast world, and I don't care. You know, and it may be negative, but that's not what this is for. This was to connect with people at a different level, and people anyone can say something so powerful. You don't even know if it helps one person or it helps 10 million people.
Yeah.
But that was the point of it, is that it actually helps someone. Like, oh, I relate to that. Oh, I'm relatable to that.
Yeah.
Okay. I dealt with addiction and getting through that. And I can still be a good father. I can still be a good husband. I don't need that to label me,
exactly,
as the bad guy, So I think that those are the most important things for sure.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You never know who's listening and whose life you could change with it, for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Last question, my favorite question is, you're building a legacy brand, not just a business, and something that your kids will benefit from. What's the legacy that you want your name to stand for, and what advice do you have for entrepreneurs listening who are still chasing theirs?
Yeah. Again, legacy, it would be the Support the Blazer charity continuing on long after I'm gone, and for my kids to partake in it, and for whoever else feels called to, because I know that campaign, if we continue putting a lot of time, love, and energy into it, we're going to be able to create a much bigger impact. So that's definitely the legacy, for sure. And leading by example for my kids, right? But for any entrepreneur out there, it's just keep going and surround yourself with experts and people that have been there, done that, and whose hearts are in the right places, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Because if you got the grit and you got the expertise beside you, giving you the nudges where you need it, and you're just gonna fucking get up and go no matter how hard it is, every day, then yeah, you're gonna make it. But keep going, because it's there's ebbs and flows. There's there's high tops and there's valleys, and it's not fucking pretty,
I want to
you gotta
emphasize
give
to
her,
anyone
man.
listening that it for sure doesn't always feel good.
No,
like
most of the time it's fucking.
It feels bad, man. It feels really bad.
100%.
Where you like look at me like why am I doing this?
Sometimes
like,
I want to go work for other people, bro.
Yeah.
Just clock out at 5, man. You know what I mean? Yeah, most of the time. So get ready, right?
I served yogurt, and then I started working for myself at 17 or 18.
Yeah.
So that's 16 years ago. There's no turning back again. So we can't reverse and go back. I'm not going to work for anyone. I can't do that.
Yeah.
I don't have any patience.
Yeah. I'm in the same category with you on that one, for sure, bro.
Nick, thank you for showing up with raw honesty and power today. Your journey from nightlife mogul to visionary wealth builder is proof that it's never about where you start. It's about how far you're willing to go and how deep you're willing to dig and how much you're willing to fight for the man that you are becoming. Can you throw out your Instagram and the Instagram for your charity as well, in case people want to follow that?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for the opportunity, first and foremost.
Thank you.
Giving me a voice on your platform here and this beautiful setup you have. Just feeling very grateful for it. So thank you. And yeah, it's very easy to find me at Nick Regina on Instagram. I'm really active on that. And at Spark Charity Foundation is the charity.
And anyone listening that is an entrepreneur or wants to become an entrepreneur, what are your top 2 pieces of advice to them?
Yeah. Again, make sure that you keep good company around you, people that can mentor you and coach you and that have been there and done that and whose hearts are in the right places. And get ready for war, because you're going to it every day.
Every day. That's good. It's funny. I don't like what it does to me mentally, but The Punisher is my favorite show. And every time I re-watch it, it's it does something to me mentally. I'm all right, come on, you son of a bitch. Are you ready to go? But thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.